Hey guys, and welcome back to the Swimsuit Guys YouTube channel. Today we're going to cut right to the chase. We've got another suit from major player Arena. This time we have what is their most expensive suit on the market today, the Carbon Ultra. Even before I tried the suit, I was skeptical about how good it was, because even though it was their most expensive suit and the one that they've marketed as the best and with all this innovation in it, when I'm watching swimming on the world stage, be it the NCAAs in America, the World Championships in Budapest last year, or any form of national championships, I see a huge number of Arena suits. The majority of them would be Carbon Flexes, Carbon Airs, or even the discontinued Carbon Pro instead of the Carbon Ultra. Well, yes, I do see the Carbon Ultra going around. I don't see it on the top of podiums, I don't see it in finals, I don't see it with the big Arena sponsored names even. When you think of the most notable Arena sponsored athletes, people like Katinka Hozu, Sarah Sjostrom, Adam Peaty, they all wear the Carbon Flex, which would suggest to me that with the options they have available to them, they much prefer that suit to the Carbon Ultra. That being said, like always when I'm reviewing a suit, I try and keep an open mind, test out the suit myself and see what I come to think of it, having used it. Obviously everyone's going to like different things in different suits. As far as I was concerned, I could end up loving this suit. As you know, in my recent Carbon Air review, I really did enjoy that suit. And I did suggest in that I preferred it to the Carbon Ultra. And starting off right off the bat, I would say that is the case. In fact, having tried all of the Carbon series, I'd have to rank the Carbon Air as my favourite, the Carbon Pro as my second favourite, the Carbon Flex VX as my third favourite, and I'm going to go and say it, but this is my least favourite of the Carbon series so far. The Carbon Ultra currently comes in 3 purchasable designs. You have the original steel/blue version, you have this fluo green version that I have right here, and then you have this very cool looking new limited edition model. There has in the past been special edition versions for different nations at world meets, but in terms of purchasable designs, there are 3 right now. I think they look really cool. And in fact, if I wasn't going to go on performance alone, these would be my favourite looking Carbon series. I really like the bold fluo yellow Arena logo paired with the red taping and the 2 different shades of grey. I also really like the inner with this sort of leopard or zebra patterning, your yellow zebra patterning inside, and we'll talk more about what that does later. The price of these suits is probably the biggest turn-off in my opinion, and these are very expensive. The new limited edition model has just released at upward of £280 British, and even this with now a decent discount on pro swimwear, it's still going to cost you £185, and that is a big discount. Let's look at the suit's design. We have a construction that is made of 50% polyamide, 47% elastane and 3% carbon fibre. Not only is that a higher elastane count than most other suits, but it's also triple the amount of carbon fibre they've used in any other Carbon series. What that leads to is a much tighter carbon cage. So you can see these little squares here on this suit are much smaller than the squares on the Carbon Flex or the Carbon Pro. While we're on this side of the suit, we'll have a little look at the water repellency, as always, and you wouldn't be surprised to know it's quite good. As is a pretty apparent nowadays, most suits are very water repellent, all creating this pooling effect. As you can see, that has not even left the slightest bit of dampness on this suit. Very impressive, but non-surprising at a Flagship suit. Now, a lot of marketing on this suit revolves around the inner construction, saying that the power is on the inside. And as you can see, we have these sort of zebra patternings inside that are their smart additional compression panels. Flipping over, we see even more on the back of the suit. The idea behind this would be to add additional compression in areas that need it, so you can see a lot along the hamstrings but not so much on the quadriceps. We also have what they call the infinity loop and the X pivot. This is a much more noticeable feature on the women's suit, but it's this sort of connection line here and then round to the front, so this X. You can see this X of tape in here. What this helps does is stabilise our core, create our hips to be higher in the water, achieve better body line, and separate our torso from our legs in terms of when we swim. As I said, it's much more noticeable on the women's suit. It sits a little bit higher, crossing out the abdominal section, and then it goes along our hip section. So it's not as effective in terms of what it can do. It's nice to see other brands utilising this sort of taping in their suits, and we have more taping here that are not just bonded seams, but they're simply inside the suit to help us perform better. I don't think anyone does it as well as the Mizuno, with their two strips down the back of their hamstrings on the GX Sonic 3, which calls that up kick, but it's definitely nice to see it being implemented. So I finally got the suit on. It definitely has to be up there with the Mizuno as the hardest jammer I've ever put on. You know, these suits are now starting to get in line with the old full body suits in terms of sore fingers, 30 minutes in a changing room, yeah, getting a sweat on, that sort of business. This is definitely a tough suit to get on, but it does look good and it does fit tight once it's on. And if you want these more compression suits, well, then they're going to have to be a little harder to get on. One weird thing you notice when putting this on is how there is like a double layering where these sort of panels are. So you can see where I'm running my finger on now is between this single layer and this thicker extra compressing layer with that sort of pattern on it. What I think they missed a trick on doing is, well, like the Mizuno, it has a double layered back. You can move between the layers so that you can trap air between the layers, which adds buoyancy, whereas this, the double layer, you can't sort of run between your fingers. It is very much glued in place or stuck in place or whatever, bonded in place. So, well, yeah, it's thicker there. It doesn't add any buoyancy in its design. This is a size 28, so I did have to go up a size up from what I'd wear in the Carbon Air, and it's still very difficult to put on and very, very snug fitting. I definitely could not get in the size 26. That would be asking for all sorts of trouble. What I find weird about this suit is that while it's cut perfectly above the knee, something I always appreciate about the Carbon Pro, it doesn't get down knee or kneecap in the slightest and sits really, really nicely all the way around, is that they've ended up with a slightly higher fit on the hips, which really doesn't fit comfortably with me at all. They've added this X pivot. They've had to have a little bit more material above your hips, and what it does is it sits really uncomfortable here. It's not close enough to my belly button like the Mizuno where it sits comfortable, and it's not low enough on the hips. It just sort of fits in this odd position that actually gives pressure in the wrong place. And again, it sits right on my hip bones here, which just feels a bit too high and uncomfortable. I think you either have to sit lower or you have to sit above them. But sitting where it does, it just doesn't feel natural at all. And the cut, definitely on the top end of it, is definitely something that puts me off this suit a little bit. Second thing I want to talk about this suit is just how heavy and thick it is. It's the heaviest suit I own without doubt, and the material is just really thick and dense. And when you get to these extra panels, with these extra compression panels, it gets even thicker. And I don't know, it just feels heavy and almost sluggish when I get into the pool. While I can't help but believe the innovation, it definitely seems like they've done a lot of positive stuff in this suit. There's just something about the implementation and the suit itself that just doesn't sit well with me. I didn't like the feel of it when I raced. It didn't make me feel like my hips were sitting higher. It definitely didn't have the buoyancy of the Mizuno. And while the compression was good, it just feels like thick, heavy compression in opposed to like a thin, tight, and positive compression. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, and the compression is definitely the best part about the suit, don't get me wrong. Beyond that, there just doesn't seem something quite right about it, and maybe I can't put my finger on it. Maybe I don't have the technical knowledge on what exactly is going on, but it's just something slightly off. As I said, this is coming from someone who loved the Carbon Pro. I loved how tight and compressive the Carbon Pro was, and I think the Carbon Pro was just simple. It was one suit, one material, the whole way around. There was nothing super novel other than a good material. And this just seems to be doing too much. There's the material. I don't think I like the material composition compared to the Carbon Flex or Carbon Pro material. There's something about it. It's denser, it's thicker, it's heavier. I prefer the thinner 1% carbon fibre. 3% carbon fibre is not for me. And then there's just something about these dual layering. I don't feel like there's better compression on my hamstrings. It just feels thicker on my hamstrings. The suit's tight enough, and the material is tense enough that it compresses great anyway. I just don't think where you have these extra panels of compression that you actually need it or it's actually giving you any extra. I don't feel like my hamstrings are more supportive than my quadriceps, even though we have this double layer. Infinity loop slash X pivot situation here, just, I don't know, it just makes the fit cut right, and this doesn't support my core, it doesn't isolate my upper body from my lower body, because my upper body's got no suit on it, so it can't. And so it may be great with a woman's knee skin, but it definitely is not something I like. Then forcing it into the jammers. I think the very sad situation is that with knee skins you can do more, because you have this upper body of suit coverage to play with, and I think you have to just appreciate that jammers aren't going to have as much technology in as the knee skins. So say, yeah, we've got this X loop, X pivot, infinity loop on the knee skin, we wasn't able to implement in the jammer, but we have still got this great material and these compression zones. I think they've forced it in, and instead what we've done, it's uncomfortable. I want to go and take it off now, to be honest. I'm not standing here comfortable in this suit. And actually, if you look at their sort of guidelines, one thing they really do push about this suit is how it's 5 out of 5 comfort and 5 out of 5 compression, which I don't think makes sense anyway. Anyhow, long story short, even with the more discounted rate of £185 for this, I think this suit misses the mark, and I do like the Arena suits, or some of them anyway. I think the Carbro was great, the best suit of its time, and the Carbon Air is definitely continuing that legacy, and for the more budget price, the Carbon Air, as you saw in my other video, has a recommendation. This suit, be it from £185 or to this astronomical £280 for the new limited edition version, is too much money, and I just don't think the performance of this suit justifies the cost or your purchase if you want an Arena suit. There are better Arena suits out there. From what I'm seeing on the world stage, I'm not the only one with that opinion, which is why you're not going to see in the Olympic final people wearing Carbon Ultras. You're not going to see them in the World Championship finals this year, but you will see people wearing other Arena suits, most namely the Carbon Air and the Carbon Flex. Thanks for watching. Please share, subscribe, like, all of that business. It really does help. I have a Facebook page now, at the Swimsuit Guy on Facebook, so give that a like for more constant updates. And of course, like my Instagram, at the Swimsuit Guy 95. See you next time.